Am I audible?
Yes, Namira, you are.
Yeah, so can we start, sir?
Yes, we can.
Hello and good morning, all. This is Namira, and I'm an intern at Pharmacracy. On behalf of Team Pharmacracy, I would like to welcome you all to the next session of Educational Awareness Program. The topic for today is management consulting. But first and foremost, I would like to congratulate Mr. Virendra Kumar and his team at Adminnext on completing 2 years in business. We wish you all the very best in your future endeavors and thank you for taking time to speak with us. In addition, thanks to all those who have joined on the call and have joined through YouTube Live. So, without taking any more time, let me invite someone with a distinct vision, Mr. Pranav Ganatra, the founder of Pharmacat and Pharmacracy. He will be introducing us to Pharmacat and what it has to offer to young minds in the field of pharmacy. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Namira. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Virendra, sir. And thank you so much for joining us at the Pharmacracy's educational webinar. I would take this opportunity to first congratulate Nikhil and the entire team for being so consistent with their activities. I'm very happy to see how the things are going. And I also take this opportunity to congratulate Virendra Kumar, sir, for celebrating the second year in business. So, hearty congratulations, sir. Pharmacat here is offering higher education options to students who wish to pursue higher education in pharmacy in India as well as abroad. And we are also helping them with team building activities like Pharmacracy, and we have a monthly magazine called The Honest. So without taking much time, I would hand it over to Namira and Nikhil and Virendra, sir, to take these things further. Thank you so much, guys, and wish you all the best.
Thank you for enlightening us all, sir. As we move forward, I would like to invite Mr. Nikhil Tugral to tell us about the idea behind Pharmacracy and the activities run by them. So, welcome, sir.
All right. Good morning to all the viewers and call participants. I welcome you all here for the fourth event of Pharmacracy. Uh, I've been with Pharmacracy for almost a year now, and now I can say that it is a complete student body, and it is for the pharma community where they can share their views, impart bridging knowledge, share their experiences, and engage in making our future better. So, some quick facts about today's event. We have received a total registrations of 204 students, of which 70% are B Farms, 9% are MBAs, 9% are PharmDs, 6% are M Farms, and 4% are PhDs. Now, state-wise coverage is we have covered 16 states, and of which predominantly we have people from Delhi, Maharashtra, and Karnataka, and that's that. I'd like to thank Mr. Virendra Kumar for giving us his valuable time on a Sunday. Thank you so much, sir, and welcome.
Thank you, Nikhil.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And I'm sure this may provide participants with the knowledge which will help them in understanding pharmacracy to much better level and about the core team too. So before we begin, here's how you can make contact with us during the webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can type them on the Google Q&A link provided on the WhatsApp group. So moving on to the most awaited part of the presentation, I would like to briefly introduce you to our speaker. Mr. Virendra Kumar is the co-founder and director of Adminnext, where he provides information and proactive insights to assist in making data-driven decisions. He has more than 11 years of experience in competitive intelligence and analysis for a global biopharmaceutical company. In addition to having an admirable understanding of the program, he has deep appreciation of what it takes to truly progress management consulting. So without further ado, the platform is yours, sir.
Thank you, Namira, and thanks a lot, Nikhil, and the whole support team in the background. It's a pleasure to be here. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay. It's not. Somehow I cannot see my second screen here. Let me try again. Okay, I think my Mac is asking for access.
Abish?
Okay, I think now it should work. Yes. Great. Apologies for the minor technical glitch. Sometimes it happens when you try to engage with multiple platforms. Having said that, thanks a lot for everyone for inviting me. And as Namira highlighted, I will try to make most out of our Sunday afternoon. So without wasting much time, let me, that's a general disclaimer. These all opinion are mine, or in case you want to use some of the slide, then you might be needing some permissions from Advent Next. I would like to start with a brief journey about me, and I will also would like to highlight some of the aspects which are not visible on the slide, but I think it is relevant to inspire the next crop, which is coming up in pharma. So all you can see here is my journey from 2009 onward. It was basically when I uh, joined MBA program in Naipa Mohali, and afterward. Uh, Before that, what happened is basically I come from Delhi. I'm a born and brought up Delhi, and this year I'll be completing my 35 years. Uh, Coming from a very modest background, so why I'm highlighting this is when we'll be discussing some of the uh, the work related aspects. So I want you to remember that if this can happen with me, this can also happen with you. uh, in 2004 2008, when I joined my B Farm program, unfortunately the uh, I would say the communication platforms opportunities were not enough, uh, and it was clearly evident even in pharmaceutical education. So I'm a bit disconnected the way education programs happen these days. But when I interact with people, things has not drastically changed. Having said that, uh, I think most of you might have also gone through the similar journey where people made a mistake, B pharmacy with B farm. So for them, it was bee farm means madhumakki. So it also happened with sometime people, they came and they were they wanted to know why you want to open a bee farm, and then I had to explain them, no, it is not bee farm, it is actually Bachelor of Pharmacy, so where you actually read about medicine and what else you can do with medicine. Uh, till the time I came into my final year B farm, the career prospects, I had a very limited visibility. It was primarily, being uh, being a medical rep, or going for masters in pharmacy, or blindedly following others who were trying to give GRE or TOEFL to get into foreign university, or again the rat race to NIPER. So I was also victim of that, to be very honest. So I had no clue what I wanted to do after B Farm, and this is when the NIPER MBA happened. And since then, my exposure toward industry has started, changing. Uh, During 2008, 2010, the India was going through a huge transformation. We had already seen the evolution in BPO industry, business process outsourcing industry, and during that time, we were seeing the rise in the KPO industry. And just to put it in a very simple word, when we Indians did, well in BPO, which is very process driven, and some people started showing trust in people that Indians are knowledgeable, they are talented. Why not give them a bit more complex problems where they can actually find information, they can search information, they can digest information, and they can give you some sort of good business advice. And this was the time when in West a lot of digital transformation has already happened, and the people in US and Europe, they are generating tons of data. And what the big pharmaceutical company realized, that probably they don't have the right talent or the tools or capabilities to churn up all those insights. So they were looking towards east for the effective and efficient solutions. uh, I started my career with Value Edge. I did my internship. This was the time when the founder of Value Edge was, he came to India, and he was looking for interns. And this is how I got to know about, okay, there is something in business research, probably we can explore. And there were a handful of companies. A lot of them are, their names has changed. So at that time, there was a company called Pharma, uh, Evalueserve. At that time, it was IMS. So handful of companies operating in the domain and providing some business research solutions to global pharmaceutical companies. So at that time, I got in touch with the founder, and I started understanding. And what uh, what helped me at that time, I won't say that, in internship I learned everything, but what helped me is to understand, okay, there is a new way, and I was enjoying it. uh, uh, just to again highlight, in 2000, between 2008 2010, I was just an I would say average B Farm person, uh, very limited understanding of Indian pharma, global pharma, uh, nothing much, understanding of how the marketing and sales functions work, how the drug development process in the mature markets work. So, having said that, but I decided, this is exciting. I need to explore, and this is probably, the kind of professional I want to see myself in future. Uh, the My effort with Value Edge, it turned up, and I was selected with eValueServe. I was with them for 2.5 years. It was a great journey. I think it was, at that time, it used to be the one of the, I would say, toughest company to work with. Huge expectation, especially from people with life sciences background, uh, who really don't understand a lot about business. Uh, Having said that, after 2.5 years, I moved to GSK Knowledge Center. The company is known as WNS. They still have it. I worked with them for 1.5 years. I was there working as a manager for commercial analytics and forecasting. And this is where I actually learned about the world of various databases, which a pharmaceutical business use while making decisions. And I would say the significant breakthrough happened in my career was in 2014, when I've been selected for a competitive intelligence role in Novartis. So just to put in perspective, in Hyderabad, and since 2014, I'm in Hyderabad. Uh, the We have a huge Novartis knowledge city, employing, I think, more than 7 or 8,000 people across various functions. and the commercial services, which also called product lifecycle services, employing, I think, roughly more than 800 people, I guess. Uh, this is the opportunity where I also got to travel a lot, seeing the world, uh, those who want to make a career in competitive intelligence, and I will also explain what is competitive intelligence is. The one thing every CI professional experience that the job profile actually gives you a lot of exposure. You will get an opportunity to travel in Europe, in US, Southeast Asia, you name it. Uh, you know, so I think any big city globally you can think about, probably I have touched it. So that's the, and when you travel and talk to different people with different role in pharmaceutical business, it actually opens up your vision. Uh, then in 2016, my role was upgraded. So uh, in 2016, I was being promoted as a global brand manager, insights and analytics for respiratory franchise. And I can highlight that I was probably the one of the youngest global brand manager they had. I continued in that role till 2019, and I must say, at the age of 32 and 33, the one question arises to me is, I think I was too comfortable in my role, uh, and uh, things were going good. Life was all settled in Hyderabad, and the question I asked is what I want to do next. And in order to understand what I want to do next, is it, that indirectly I'm asking myself is what I'm really good at. And in 2018, when I did this brainstorming, and there is a very nice book. Its name is Clifton Strength Finder. Uh, Anyone can easily get it. 700, 800 rupee book. It helps you to identify the areas where you are really good at, and it is also about the domain, and it's also about your personality. So if your personality matches with your work, then the big thing it does is you never feel like you're working. It actually goes smoothly with whatever career you choose. So I decided I want to do competitive intelligence, and I had a vision that someday I want to start my own company. And why I want to do that is, first thing is, as we are having in this forum, we know that there's a very limited understanding at the ground. What are the other different career opportunities available for the pharmaceutical professionals? So one was the job creation and bringing employment to more people. And another thing was uh, most of the companies which are currently operating in the knowledge processing domain, they they I mean they never had a history of a pharmacy. They never had a history in medicine. So indirectly, what I'm trying to say is, uh, they really did not understand the challenges of pharmaceutical business. So when somebody coming from inside of a big pharma company and going back to the vendor side, so it developed a significant empathy toward the business owner. We understand what they need, in what form they need, how frequently they need, and what they don't appreciate and what they appreciate. So having said that, I started working as an independent consultant. It was with Atacana Group. uh, I had a very good relationship with the leadership team, and I'm grateful that they gave me this opportunity to work with them and learn about how the vendor side of business in business research and consulting works. And once I explored this area, and then I decided in September 2020 that okay, now I think I'm ready to take up the full-time role, and under our brand name Adamant Next, and the rest is history. So till now we have around 15 people working in different capacity across the world. So a long introduction, but I think it was important to set up the foundation of this discussion. Uh, I would like to request that if you have any questions, then please note it down. In the in the last 30 minutes, we will be taking up your questions, and I will try that I can make this discussion as much as relevant, as much as focused toward you. And in next 10 minutes, I will just finish up uh, the what we actually do, what value we create for pharmaceutical businesses, and what kind of talent we actually look for when it comes to hiring. Moving to the next slide. This is what we does. Primarily, we are into providing competitive intelligence solutions across life sciences and healthcare. And it may, a lot of people may not able to understand it, but it is, if I need to put what is competitive intelligence, it is primarily what information you need in order to do your business more effectively and efficiently. And uh, when I was in the early days of my business, early days of my career, I used to think that having no competition probably a good thing. But after so many years, I can appreciate competition because it inspire, it drives innovation, and it keeps your product and services relevant to the market. So this principle you can also apply in your personal life, and certainly it is very essential when it comes to pharmaceutical business, the way it operates right now. We have a wide consultant network, and we do have delivery centers. So uh, some of our associates, they are working from Dubai, Singapore, and in India, we are primarily having headquarters in Delhi and Hyderabad. Uh, we started primarily the business operation in COVID, so most of people are actually working from home. And as soon as the situation get a bit better, uh, we are hoping that those who are willing to work from offices, we can invite them back and start operations from the site. Uh, why we need a global presence? Because we work for global pharmaceutical companies. They are having operations in West, covering Canada, Latin America, US, and primarily in Europe. So uh, for the new people, the more you will read about G7, G7 comprise of US, EU5, and Japan. EU5 stands for France, Germany, Italy, Spain, UK. These are the biggest markets for pharmaceutical drugs. Unfortunately, it's not India because it's a different dynamics. We can discuss, offline why the kind of services we are doing, it is not catered or not heavily used by Indian companies, and why a lot of big pharmaceutical companies, they are investing a lot of money on the strategic initiatives and strategic insights in general. And this is, I'm speaking on behalf of the commercial services. uh, Typically commercial teams, these are the teams which are responsible for the development of a new drug, building up a new brand, what primary elements they use in order to build a good brand, a good drug, how to communicate its value story. So when it comes, so they primarily rely on uh, major four pillars to be their eyes and ears. And first pillar is competitive intelligence, to understand what is there in market and how they can differentiate their product and service. Also, business analytics, you really want to understand how big is the market. Are you operating in a significant market? How much money you can actually make? And you, while in my talk, you will see I'm talking a lot about money. It is important because without money, no business can survive. money is like a fuel. So any business it operate, it needs to be profitable. If it's not profitable, sooner or later it will die. Another thing is forecasting. It's an interesting field. You might hear many things about forecasting from many people. We are entering into an age of heavy data-driven forecasting, where you draw many parallels from the past performance. Having said that, but it in a very simple word, what you can anticipate for your drug in future. How many patients will be taking your drug, at what price you will be selling it, uh, are you going to face any market related challenges, uh, in short, how much money actually you can make. uh, uh, and then the last one is basically ad hoc research surveys to understand uh, whatever you have built, is it really needed by people. And typically I think it's too much to ask in the early stage from the professional. We don't think uh, what we are doing, why we are doing, and where we are going to use this information. But when it comes to the corporate world, and your work, actually when you are creating value for others, this question will be asked to you again and again. What are you doing, why are you doing, and how you are going to do it to make any difference. Uh, in pharmaceutical, and this is again true for global pharmaceutical businesses, the way we divide and how we define the business. So you will see, if you are reading about the big pharmaceutical companies, how they actually see their market. So you will see that some companies, and if I need to put it in an Indian perspective, some companies are good in respiratory. You can name company like Cipla is very good here. There are some companies which are very good in oncology drugs. There are some companies which are good in cardiovascular drugs or the lifestyle diseases, for example, diabetes, or some companies very good in dermatology. So these becomes the company segments. And why I'm highlighting is, if you are going to talk to somebody who is operating, for example, in respiratory business, then there is no point talking about dermatology, because they what they might want to hear is what is going on respiratory business, which new drugs are coming, what are the customer challenges, and what new can be done to help these patients. So we when we were in pharmacy, we used to see these topics as science, but along with science, how you can actually see these therapy areas, disease as a market as well. And and when you start seeing it as a market, you will see that there are different companies operating in individual pockets and making significant business. And they are looking for people like you who have a very in-depth understanding of these areas. Okay, I have 3 minutes in this segment, so I'll just quickly take you through what is competitive intelligence. Uh, so when you are driving a bicycle, it's very easy. You just need to balance. You have just two tires, one handle, and it's basically you who's handling everything. So it's very simple to operate a bicycle if you learn how to drive a bicycle. But when it comes to a global brand management, it is like driving a Boeing 747, probably 300 seater. Typically, in a good brand team, a global brand is actually employing more than 300 people across the globe. So basically, someone who's responsible for such a significant brand, and if something goes wrong with the brand and the drug, you are basically, more than hundreds of people, their job is at risk. So the business owners, their situation is very difficult. Whatever decision they need to make, they had to make sure that they have all the information in hand, and in the given situation they are making a very good decision. The decision taking is important. Any decision can go right or wrong, but in the given situation, on the given information, are you making a decision? So this is what business owners does. And this is where we come along and help them, that whatever background information they require to make that decision, and to make sure uh, they are running at a minimum level of risk. Uh, so having said that, so how we actually does that? So when it comes to competitive intelligence, and a lot of people, if they are seeing cues from army documentaries, or or the intelligence name itself is raising some bells, it is not what you're thinking. Okay, we don't sabotage anybody's business. Competitive intelligence, what does it mean? Is you are actually uh, reading about your competition, whatever information available in the public domain. And there is a lot of information is available in the public domain. So the way I define it is actually a science where where you know what you are looking for and where to find it, and it is reproducible. You can redo the things again and again. It is not by fluke. One time you got information, another time you are not getting information. And it's systematically. You cannot say, okay, you know what, I did my research in early 2021, and now I'm good to make decision across 2021. That's not true, because the market and the situation is changing. And typically, I give the example of COVID-19. Uh, the virus was there since the late 2019, but nobody actually realized that the situation will become so grim that the globally the cities and the countries will be shut down for 2 months, 3 months. And I think last year almost all the hospital visits, they remain subdued, even in India as well. So having said that, if somebody would have thought about it ahead, or somebody have given them an alert that this is how your business gonna impact, then they might have planned a bit differently. So it is extremely important for businesses to know what is going on in their market, what is their competition doing, what is the regulatory agencies doing, and how the micro and the macro market dynamics are playing, which can actually disrupt their business. So when you actually do competitive analysis, what you are actually trying to do is you are trying to generate some competitive insights. And why we do that is, if you are, and then no matter what you do, you need to understand what are your strengths and what are your competitor or the other players in the market, their strengths. And once you start collecting information, then you develop competitive insights. And once you have that competitive insight, you try to understand, okay, what is their advantage and what is my advantage? Is my competitive advantage is enough to give me enough push in the market, enough business in the market? Or if it is not there, then we need to create one to play in the market. Otherwise, it is very difficult to play in the market. And this is something you can, as a student, you can also apply. A lot of people say, you know what, I have 60 people in my batch. They all are same. We all look same. I mean, there's hardly doesn't matter somebody got 60% or 70%, but from the outside, everybody looks same. Then how you are trying to differentiate your profile? What is your competitive advantage? And if you don't have a competitive advantage, then create one competitive advantage. And then whatever you are trying to achieve, it could be a job, it could be cracking a competitive exam, it could be cracking an internship. You need to have a strategy, and your strategy needs to be different from other people in your segment. So this is the a normal, the ladder which people use in their personal life, knowingly, unknowingly, and very often used in the corporate business. Uh, in general, this is the drug development process. You might have seen in multiple books as well. What I want to highlight is, the moment you are moving from here till here, you are actually creating a lot of value for the patient, for the physician, for the business. And now we are in and all these stages, there are multiple stakeholders, and you actually have business or the work opportunities starting from here till here. And based on your interest and based on your expertise, uh, you can operate at any level. And then we can discuss, if you have any specific question, how you can actually support at various levels. Uh, this slide, I wanted to share that who are the major stakeholders when it comes to pharmaceutical business, uh, and how we collect information related to each stakeholder, because every stakeholder plays a significant role. So uh, I don't want to give a lot of information, but I think it's worth highlighting that you take a screenshot, note down these, and try to understand, okay, how these different stakeholders actually play a role in a pharmaceutical business. Thank you, and over to you to take up any questions.
Thank you, sir. And I loved how you said it's not sabotaging, and then it's creating strategy, looking at pros and cons, so so that the best may come out as a competitive in intelligence. So I love that part, and I hope it was really helpful for the participants. And I'm sure they are eager to ask the questions. So let's begin with the Q&A session. Tablish, can you just present? So the first one is, what are the skills required to build, and how do we build our skills in the career domain?
So there are different skills required in different jobs. The way I put it is, there are different jobs available at different level. There are some jobs which are less complex, uh, and by virtue they are creating less value. Okay, so if you are working in a job which is less complex and adding less value to the organization, you should expect that you will be getting a lower pay for that. Okay, but if there is a job which is complex and adding a significant value to the organization, there you can anticipate a higher pay package. And I'm highlighting the pay part because a lot of people, they feel disappointed that pharma is not offering good pay packages. Unfortunately, it is not true. It is primarily that you are, and then the best example I give is, somebody is delivering milk at your doorstep, and the milk packet cost is 25 rupees, delivery charge is 5 rupees, so it actually costs you 30 rupees on a daily basis. What if I'd say, you know what, next time I will come, I will deliver this milk packet at your doorstep, but the milk packet now will cost you 125. And you might get shocked, why 125? I'll say, you know what, the milk packet cost is still 25, but because it's me, 12 year of experience, founder of a company, MBA, this is me who's delivering milk packet to your doorstep. So that's why I want to charge 125. And people will say he must be going nuts. This is outrageous. We will not pay it. And this is what happened when the pharma grads or any MBA. I'm basically talking about the freshers who really don't understand where they are actually adding value, and when they go out and they are actually negotiating their compensation with people. So if you don't know how much value you are adding, then it's very difficult to charge premium in your market. Having said that, so if you want to work in consulting, and let me talk more about it because this is the area I understand the most. So the skill we require is are you questioning the status quo? Are you inquisitive? Do you ask questions? Do you have your why ready all the time? Because this is something which will help you. And when you are not getting answers, are you brave enough to go out and seek an answer? Because the world is full of uncertainties. So you need to be inquisitive. You need to ask question. You need to be flexible and a learner for life. And at the same time, the most essential skill is communication. In your career, you will be primarily working with people like me, or people on our stakeholder side. They are primarily coming from US and Europe, or be it any other country. The communication language will be English. Okay, it is. I'm not against any local language, but the thing is, English is your work language, so you have to learn it. You have to take command on it. So if you have that, and even if your academic performance is not good, I will pick you.
Yes, sir. Rightly said. I agree to that. So the next one is Tabish. Yes. How much is the communication important in CI? In India, communication is considered English. So how does it affect one's acceptance in interview if English is a challenge for me? Okay.
So the thing is, it is not about international. It is also about India. Okay. If English is not there, then unfortunately, I only speak Hindi or English. Okay. So which means I think how many registered language we have? I think over 27, 28. So that means if I only speak Hindi, then I'm saying no to almost 90% of people who cannot speak Hindi. So English actually connects India. Okay, so we have people working from Odisha with us. Yeah, we have people who are coming from Kerala, Chennai, and then those who are in the north. It may be possible that you think in south we have a common language. No, we have Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, and then Odia. There are many languages. Having said that, why English? Whatever work you do, you need to communicate it. You need to make somebody understand what you have done and how it is valuable. And it is always preferable that you talk in a common language, and especially when it comes to the buyer and seller market. So you are selling your services and there is somebody a buyer of your services, then it is your job as a seller to understand your customer and talk in their language, rather than beating your customer and asking them, you know what, you came to India, you would speak in my language, then only I will provide you service. This is outrageous. This will not acceptable. इसका सबसे simple example is you go to Rajasthan and, for example, in Chandni Chowk in Delhi, and you talk to people, the local guides. They might have not gone to the 10th standard, but they speak fluent English and they can talk with their tourists. This is the need of their job, so they learned it.
Thank you, sir. Now, the next question is from Anonymous. Again, I'm a biotechnology graduate with MBA in healthcare management. I have work experience in 5 years in biopharma and healthcare IT company. So this person is interested in pharma and wants to pursue the career in CI research consulting. So how does this person choose, switch the job role, because he is not getting interviews through this experience which he has biotechnology. So is it for
So,
all?
so the thing is, the main challenge is it is easy for to take freshers or MBAs or MPharms and then train them. Okay, because their mind is not uh, I would say primed with the market practices. When somebody with 4, 5, 6 year of experience, because they are already being primed, they are relatively an expert in something, their pay packages are high, and now you are asking them, you know what, you come and I will teach you something completely new. Okay, so this is what actually makes it difficult. So what my advice is to such people with experiences, they need to identify their own niche, what they really understand. And as I said, every skill actually creates a competitive advantage. So they need to come up and highlight what they know the best, through which pharmaceutical companies using it as a competitive advantage. So if you don't understand your strengths and weaknesses, it's very difficult for the other person to understand it. And these are the problems, arise to me. Unfortunately, we can't, pay people with, the higher incentives and high pay packages, and then get them work like a fresher. This is, I think, it's a bit unjustified.
So the next question is, why is competitive intelligence position only seen in multinational companies such as GSK, Novartis, and consulting companies, and not in Indian companies like Sun Pharmas and others?
It happens even in Indian companies, but typically the local brand managers or the regional brand managers, uh, they actually does that. Indian companies, they operate in a different business model, and just to shed some light on it, it is a generic market, and generic market is highly driven by economy of scale. Okay, so which means you produce more, you sell more at a relatively lower price. Okay, so this is where the margins are, I mean, in comparison to big pharma, margins are very less, and hardly these companies operate in an innovative drug business. So when we talk about, those fancy words, a drug development takes around roughly $2 billion. No Indian company is investing $2 billion. Okay, so when a big pharma company investing $2 billion over a life cycle, it is easy for them to invest couple of millions in strategy and insights. And by the nature of market, that much spending is a bit unlikely. Uh, Indian companies do some insights and analytics, but not probably in some depth, and normally managed by the team member itself. So it will be treated as an added advantage. If you understand CI and going for a brand manager role, then they will, it will come as added advantage.
Yes, yeah, I think so too. So next question is, how can you explain market research without using the words market and research? So what exactly is involved in this?
If Okay, so one thing I would say, you really need to understand your market. Okay, so this is the target. Okay, so if you don't know, and research is general research, right? So if you don't know what you are searching about, you will not reach anywhere. Okay, it is as good as the moment you step out of your house, and then you are asking where I need to go, which direction I need to go. You don't know. So market basically decides your focus, where you want to go. And the question you need to ask is how I define my market. Yeah, okay. In this case, for example, somebody is trying to get into quality assurance or quality check. So your market is different. If somebody going into commercial business, their market is different. Okay, and the product level, So what I'm trying to highlight is market is a very general word. It's perspective change when we are talking in a different perspective.
Okay. So, sir, what all careers, like only B Farm, MBA can pursue the CI or others? Because mostly our audience is B Farm or from pharma background.
Why? Let me start with the question: why we actually prefer pharma grads? Okay. Uh, why we prefer pharmaceutical graduates? It's primarily they are pseudo doctors, they are pseudo physician. Okay, and I'm using the word pseudo because they don't have prescribing rights, but they have a very good understanding about medicine. They, all the pharmacology and pharmacognosy and pathophysiology, it actually plays a role here, but they have never focused, they have never seen that education from this angle, that whatever they have read, it can be used, and it will empower them to make analysis. So when we ask these people to come and make them learn that this is what we do, this is how pharmaceutical business work, and then trust me, if a business analyst or associate does not understand a disease or indication, biomarker, pathophysiology, they will not able to make comment on the business. Okay, it is as good as, somebody is claiming to be a car mechanic, but they don't know about anything about car. Okay, so that's why we hire pharma grads, and then what we expect from them is they need to have a little bit business understanding. And trust me, there is hardly any difference between, be it B farm, be it M farm, be it MBA. When they comes to us, there are hardly any difference, especially those who have not done internship with the company like us. The MBA is almost similar. Normally, these are so B farm typically more with energy, more confused and less committed to work because they see M farm or MBA as an alternate. So they are very confused. So, but if anybody who's more committed with good communication, they want to explore the option, they are, we are happy to entertain them. But
Okay.
typically, it never happen. It's rarely happen. Let me I have seen many people who have done B farm and they are very good, doing very good in the industry. Then comes the M farm. So by the time they do their M farm, so they are so much invested in science, they stop thinking about the business. So the merely building a product is not enough. Somebody also need to sell it, and somebody also need to ensure that it is needed in the market. So the business acumen usually goes down. Again, very few people, rare people, they keep the business acumen open, and we accept those people. And last but not the least, the MBAs. We all know the quality of MBAs we have in our country. So I mean, if we take out the fancy tag, then they have some sort of familiarity, which can be, they can be trained because they have a familiarity with the word. They understand the market. They understand what the meaning of brand, product development. They also might, reading about P&Ls and balance sheet. So they actually enter into the ecosystem. So that's what actually make it's a relatively bit conducive that whatever we are teaching, they're able to connect. That's the only.
Thank you,
And
sir.
same with the biotech and the other field as well. They also does that.
Okay, so this is the last question for from students. So what is the extra activities, certification, or online courses we need to do in pharma consulting domain during 2 years of Pharm MBA to remain at the edge of in starting career? So basically,
I
before
would
starting.
recommend don't do any online course. Okay. What you need is go and talk to people who are working in the industry. Ask them, how can I help you? Is there any way I can help you? So the problem is you are learning so many things, and the real use of that skill is nobody knows where you're gonna use it. So the best thing is you talk to these people, and then once you realize if somebody is offering you something which you don't know how to do it, then it makes sense you go back and learn about it rather than learning 10 different things and then trying to. It is like you have 10 keys and you are finding a lock rather than finding one lock and preparing a key. You can decide which is more efficient.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I guess there are some questions from YouTube. The further questions will be discussed by Nikhil, sir.
Sure.
Hi. So there was one question by Ankush Kumar. He asks, how did you decide that you are going to do business in field and coming what came to your mind while starting this? Adam, admit
Then
next.
next. Okay. uh, Thank you for asking this question, and let me answer the first question, why I moved towards the business side. uh, so when I was in early stage of my career, we had a different understanding of business. Okay. And usually people see it, slightly being in a negative way. I think thanks to our Bollywood movies and all. But without business, the economy will not work. Okay, and as I highlighted, for a business, in order to operate, sustain, employ people, pay their salaries, it needs to be profitable. Okay, and when it comes to run a business, in every business, be it pharmaceutical business or be it a milk factory or something else, uh, the way we divide business activities into two major buckets. One is the cost center, another is revenue center. In a very simple word, cost center is a activities in which you are investing money. It is essential, but uh, the more money you will invest, it will not translate into your revenue. Okay, so that this is what cost center mean. For example, HR, for example, accounting, finance, or for example, your housekeeping. The money you invest, it will not translate into revenue. Okay, so somebody is joining into HR and then saying, you know what, I'm 4 or 5 year old in the company, give me raise. And what they are not seeing is, in these 4 or 5 years, does the business revenue has increased or not? If the business is exponentially increasing and their salaries are not increasing, then it makes sense to have a negotiation with your business owners. But if the business is not growing and the HR is then going back and saying, asking the leadership, give me a raise, unfortunately it's not possible because business is not growing. Then there are some segments in a company which are revenue centers. For example, marketing, for example, sales, strategy functions. These are the functions where when you put more money, you will get more money. You generate more money, right? So if somebody is generating, for example, 10 lakh, it's easy for the people to give a 10% cut to him. That's why a lot of sales shop, they have incentives. Okay, you do 1 crore, I'll give you 10% incentive, or I'll send you to for a nice holidays, or I'll give you car, or I'll give you a iPhone or an iPad. Okay, so what does it indicate? It indicate the more value you are creating, and here we are connecting value with money. The more value you are creating, the business will reward you accordingly. So if what you need to consider in your career, in which direction you want to go, and try to be on a revenue center if you want to make more money, because in cost center you will make money, but probably at a much later stage, because the dynamics are completely different. And this is why some of my friends who are on the development side of business, they sometimes not happy with the way they are being the way they are being accommodated, because it is like their journey is more like a physician. Okay, the doctors. So what happened is, the moment you come out of MBBS, you are just new doctor, nobody trusts you, you don't have an expertise. It takes 15-20 years to build an expertise, and by the time you are in your 40s, so the time they receive their recognition, they are probably relatively too older. Okay, so success will come, but eventually probably much later. So, and the way we say in business, the early you get success, the more you can enjoy it. So try to it depends what your priorities are. My priorities were clear, that I want to be on a revenue side, I want to be closer to the action point, and which is why I spend time in understanding marketing, sales, brand management, and then how the insights and analytics work in a business.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really a great learning experience, and I'm sure most of the participants have their questions answered now. With this, we are now approaching the end of the program, and as promised, we'll be providing all students with graded certificates according to their performance in the short assessment test. All of you are requested to take the screenshot of this particular page and save it with yourself. These are the steps you'll have to follow for assessing the quiz, and top 30% scorers will receive a 20% discount on one Pharmacat courses, which can be availed on the app itself. Note that the assessment will be active for 24 hours after the event, so make sure you complete this before the time limit to make your place in top 30%. All the very best, everyone. And before we conclude, I, on behalf of Team Pharmacracy, would like to express my sincere thanks to our guest. Thank you, sir. And I hope today's session will be very helpful in gaining better understanding. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Pranav, sir, for his assistance in organizing the event. We are lucky to have the support of a group of really devoted and motivated students who have worked tirelessly to make this event a success. I would also like to thank all the participants for the utmost patience and presence. And with this, we come to the end of the program. Just after the meeting, you will be receiving a feedback form, so kindly fill it as we'd love to hear it from you. So thank you and a good day.
Thanks a
Thanks
lot.
so much,
You are
sir.
doing a great job. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy your day. Bye bye.
Bye.